And Kathy, whenever you're ready.
All right, terrific. I'm calling this Back Bay Association, excuse me, something got in the way there, Commission public hearing to order at 5 p.m. On April 9th, 2025. You can participate in this hearing by going to our Zoom meeting link in our agenda posted online at https www.boston.gov public notices 163 62381 or by calling 301-715-8592 and entering the ID 986-7855-4211 hashtag. You can also submit written comments or questions to backbayac@boston.gov. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we're conducting this hearing online to ensure public access to the deliberations of the Back Bay Architectural Commission. The public may access this call through telephone and video conferencing. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use a platform, you can press *9 to raise your hand, or you can send your questions to staff via email at backbayac@boston.gov. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person and should be focused on a project's exterior architectural features, which includes landscaping. Issues related to use, street traffic, and noise are outside the Commission's purview.
Okay, and the commissioners who we have present, we have Kathy Connor, Tom High, Rob Weintraub, Gina Dimitriadis, Susanna Gaspar, David Sampson, and Tanvi Nair. Have I missed any other commissioners? I think saw everyone come in. And for staff, you have Sarah Lawton, Preservation Assistant, and Joe Cornish, Director of Design Review. And I think, Kathy, we can start with our first agenda item.
Wonderful. So we have 433 Marlborough Street on the agenda, application 25.0731. Is there someone here for 433 Marlborough Street, please?
Yeah, if you could raise your hand. You're presenting for 433. And I see Commissioner Andy Jim Patera is just joining us. And I'm not seeing the applicant is Scott Garvin, and I don't see him here on the call.
Hmm.
So one more call if there's anyone here to present for 433 Marlborough Street. If not, we can
Move on.
move on to the next one. Just get,
Okay.
I see a few other people are joining here. All right, so is there anyone here for 242 Beacon Street? You could raise your hand. Okay.
Jared Humphreys.
Yep, let me make him a co-host. All right. Jared, are you presenting for 242 Beacon Street?
So actually, no, we have Chip Sloan as the architect. He plans on presenting
Okay,
and
yep, I see him right here.
co-host rather than me. Yes.
Yep. Okay, well, you both can be.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, Chip Sloan, are you?
There we go. Sorry. Hey.
Okay, let me just get advance here to your presentation. And Kathy, if you want to call this application.
Absolutely. It's application 25.0667 for 242 Beacon Street. And if you want to officially identify yourselves, gentlemen, and then we'll turn it back to Joe so he can go through the staff notes.
Okay, my name is Chip Sloan. I'm principal of William Sloan Associates. We are architects on the project, which is primarily a mechanical project, converting the building to away from fossil fuels and installing heat pumps throughout all the floors of the 7-story building. But it has some exterior elements, and so I'm doing the presentation. I'm here with Jared Humphreys. Jared's right above me on my Hollywood Squares chart here. He's a mechanical engineer. The project is at 242 Beacon. and if I could,
Oh, sure. Let me, I'm just going to read my staff comments first, and then we'll move on to
yes.
your presentation. So again, the scope of work is at rear of building, replace existing condenser unit with 3 heat pumps and an uppermost roof, install 5 heat pumps. And for my staff comment, staff notes that 242 Beacon Street is a 6-story brick row house built in 1880 and designed by Sturgis and Brigham Architects. The proposed project is replacing existing HVAC equipment currently located at the rear of the building. Staff recommends approval with provisos, finding that the applicant has confirmed it is not possible to locate all of the heat pumps at the uppermost roof. Fencing to screen the ground unit should not exceed 6 feet in height, with final design details remanded to staff. So those are my recommendations, and I can stop sharing if you'd like to share your screen.
Oh, you know. Successful?
Yes. Yep.
All right, let me get everybody's picture here so I can see who you are. Okay, great, terrific. So 242 Beacon, view from the street, no changes to the exterior of the building. We have met with the neighborhood committee, and we'll talk a little bit about their comments, and we have some images that respond to a few of the comments that we heard from them. As I mentioned, it's a replacement of existing HVAC system, and there are approximately 8 heat pumps involved in the project, 5 on the roof and 3 in the back of the building. Just general views of the building. This is from the front. This is the view from the rear. What we're going to be doing is replacing this existing air-cooled condenser with heat pumps. The application, here's the existing chiller now in its location. That's Jared. You can get an approximate read on the height of the unit. That's Annie Stefanelli. She's the property manager. So 3 will go in the back at grade, and 5 will be located on the roof. This is a roof obviously looking towards Charles River. This is looking towards an elevator penthouse adjacent property, and this is looking towards Beacon Street. You've seen the summary of the work. I'll go right to the heat pump locations. We've got 3 at grade at the back, and there was a comment that came from Joseph about screening. Was it possible to screen the units? The answer is yes, and we've in an addenda form we sent a little sketch. These are the type of units that are getting installed. This is a section, a diagrammatic section through the building, illustrating how we're locating the units on the roof, keeping them away from the roof edges to avoid the view sheds from Beacon Street and from Back Street. In addition, the units on the roof are mounted on sound acoustic isolation mounts. Let's go to the addendum. So the first comment we received was screening. We provided you with a sketch. This is a board-on-board sketch with a few bollards. Some comments came back from the neighborhood committee. They wanted to see what it looked like from the side, and I have a little sketch of that. And they didn't like yellow. So if you look at our proposed revisions to the fence, we've got green bollards now, dark green bollard. This is a view from the end. We'll use the same board-on-board design and have a section that's a gate that allows access, changing of filters and access to the gate. Oh, there's also some concern about the piping. The piping will enter the building at grade or at the ceiling level of the ground floor, and the pipes will be right about here. So there's about 8 supply and returns insulated pipes coming in right there, and we'll screen that as well.
Will those be below the level of the screen that you're building?
They're a little bit higher. So the fence is about 6 feet. Ceiling height, I think, is around 7 feet, and these are coming in right around ceiling height. So you're going to get this little pop up there. Where the
How do you propose screening those?
this is just a painted metal enclosure.
Any ideas, Tom?
No, I was just curious what he had in mind. I would think, as Joe is suggesting, that we would want the detail to be reviewed by Joe.
Okay.
And you say you're lowering the fence to 6 feet because what you proposed originally was, I think, 6.5.
6'8", and there was a comment about a code restriction or an area of zoning restriction on a height of a fence in this situation.
Yeah, you'd have to get zoning approval because a 6 foot high, anything above 6 feet requires a Board of Appeal approval.
Mm-hmm.
So save yourself a lot of time and money for a few inches.
Yeah. I did get the email about the mock-up for the roof. It's going to take a little while for the owner to do that. I understand that might continue this hearing, this review to the next hearing in order to do that. If we were to build mock-ups, we would want to test out these locations closest to the front and back of the roof. Would take 2 mock-ups to really satisfy, I think, the committee about what you see and where you see it. They would have to be fairly substantial because good wind will take it off the roof unless it's securely mounted. So it's not the quickest thing to do, but if that's necessary, the owner will be ready to, of course, to do that. Are these mock-ups routinely done?
Yes,
Okay.
we could remand that to staff as
Yeah,
well. So we could
absolutely.
approve this in principle and remand details to staff.
Okay, well that's a good idea because from our perspective, the owner would like these in the right spot too. If you look at our plan, there's a head house here. There's some structures over there. We probably have quite a bit of flexibility of locating this, and I know the views are. It's not quite as simple as we see in one section. Could be some views from this side, maybe even adjacent properties. Are more important than we think, and it might suggest pushing it one way or the other.
Chip, how high are they going to be with the sound attenuation?
So they're a little over 6 feet. They're supposed to be 18 inches off the ground, which is, and then the unit itself must be about 4 or 5 feet. Jared's on the line here. Jared, do you have the exact height on that?
No, I think you're right, Chip. I think they'd end up about 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are snow guards or other things that have to be added to the top. Do you anticipate that?
No, not on these particular units.
Okay.
Yeah, so here's the ones up on the roof. It ends up being about 6'2". So a 6 foot fence does a pretty good job of hiding that, but you would see that hood for the piping peeking up. I don't think that would be objectionable. But so the isolation mounts are pretty much the same as the stand that's required. The stand's required at grade because snow builds up and they don't want the unit getting too close to the snow.
All right, I'm ready to make a motion.
All right, I will if you could stop sharing your screen, I just need to bring up
Sure.
our script. All right, Kathy. Oh, Kathy, you still there?
Yep, I am.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
I had trouble getting out of the mute. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use the platform, you can press *9 to raise your hand, or you can send your questions to staff via email at backbayac@boston.gov. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person and should be focused on a project's exterior architectural features, which include landscaping. Issues related to use, street traffic, and noise are outside of the commission's purview. And Serge, I see that you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Kathy and commissioners. Good evening. Serge Savard, Vice Chairman of the Neighborhood Association of the Back Bay. And we did see this application in our committee. We think that, at least from what I can see, the new rendering seems to match pretty closely the type of mitigation that we wanted to see. So we're very pleased with this. I would just point out that I think it's very important that staff has a chance to review the exact location of the ACs to make sure that if they go closer to the edge, that they don't become visible from either the street or from back street. But other than that, I think these are good improvements over the current conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Serge. Sue.
Yes, I just had a quick question on the isolation mats. Are those necessary in the rear yard, or are you just going to use those on the roof? Because I was thinking maybe we could drop the rear yard one a bit.
Those would likely only be on the roof, but you'd still need to be above the snow line on the grade. But we may,
No, understood you'd have to have the stand, but you can take it down a little bit there.
correct, yeah. So I think we might end up with maybe a 12-inch stand rather than 18-inch to get it around that 6-foot height of the fence.
Yeah,
Yes,
great.
correct.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's it for public comment.
Then let's go back to the motion, Rob.
My motion is for approval with the following provisos: that the fence not exceed 6 feet in height, and a mock-up be installed for Joe to review, and all further details be remanded to staff.
Second?
Okay, that was Gina Dimitriadis, and voting, Kathy Connor,
Yes.
Tom High,
Yes.
Rob Weintraub,
Yes.
Gina Dimitriadis,
Yes.
Susanna Gaspar,
Yes.
David Sampson,
Yes.
Tom B. Nayer,
Yes.
and Andy Champatera.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Thanks, everyone. If you could, Chip, if you could email me that latest version of your presentation, because I haven't seen those latest changes that you made.
Yes, definitely.
Great, thank you. And then we'll schedule a time to look at the mock-ups when they're ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Should we go back to 433, Sharon?
Yes, yeah, I think I see Sean Pepesh, are you here?
Okay. We're looking for 433 Marlborough Street. Is someone here for 433?
Hello?
There he
Yes,
is.
hello, Sean, hi, yes.
Yeah, actually, this is Scott from Sean Papage's office.
Okay.
Sorry for delaying getting here. I was delayed getting back to the office.
Yep, no
Okay.
problem.
Okay. All righty. We're going to take a look at application 25.0731 just after Joe reads his staff comments. Sean.
And again, this is for 433 Marlborough Street, and the proposed work is at the front garden, replace shrubs and install ornamental steel fence. Staff notes that 433 Marlborough Street is a 3-story brick row house built in 1885. The proposed installation of this fence is to locate it behind the curbing rather than to install it into the existing curbing, which would be inconsistent with other fences at nearby properties. Staff recommends approval with provisos, finding that the proposed fence and landscaping are consistent with the design guidelines for the residential area of the district. However, the fence should be installed into the curbing to be consistent with the fencing at nearby properties. And I'll just show you, here is the existing garden and the existing curbing here. And I was actually impressed at the condition of the curbing, that it is, looks like it's solid and in good shape. And as you look down the street, here's the garden at 433. You do see that other fences are installed into the curbing, but this is the concern here, that you see how the curb oftentimes does have some deterioration caused by the installation of fences into them. And as you look further down the street, you can see it is consistent as you go down the block that they are installed into the curbing. Scott, would you like me to, it's the same presentation I think that You have, so I'm happy just to move forward as
Sure,
you'd
that'd be
like me
fine.
to. Okay. Yep, go ahead. Yep.
Great. Thank you. Again, my name is Scott Garvin. I represent our clients from 433 Marlborough Street. I work at Pappage Landscape Architecture. We've been hired just to renovate this front postage stamp little garden they have. The main intent is to install the ornamental steel fence and to replace the plantings surround in the perimeter of the garden. The existing dogwood tree will remain. We're just gonna replace the existing boxwoods with a compact Japanese holly and ornamental perennials in the middle. The biggest portion of the project is the ornamental fence. As is indicated, there's a precedent for ornamental fencing on the street. We find that the designs kind of keeps in character of the Back Bay, with the low 2-foot height ornamental steel fence with a black enamel finish. I think the biggest portion of our concerns with installation of the fence is the proximity of the fence on the curb versus behind the curb. And speaking with one of our contractors who's familiar with coring onto surfaces, the curved surface can be a little tricky to get a clean core established, since you can't get the entire coring blade on the surface to begin. So it may wobble a little bit, it may deteriorate the curb a little bit. And the fact that it's a curved surface, so we can't get a base plate on the post to cover the coring. So there would be exposed grout and potential for water penetration there. And that's our concern overall for the condition of the curb, leading to potentially future cracking and deterioration of the curb. We thought if we set the curb set the post just behind the curb, we can avoid any type of potential deterioration, cracking of the curb. Understand the curb does look like it's in solid shape now, but with the painted finish on there, we're not sure exactly whether or not the curb has been patched, and we start coring, might be popping out patched concrete that's been covered by the painted surface.
Scott,
That's our main concern with the installation practice of the curbing.
yeah, Scott, I think you find if you consult a mason that they can do it with a pretty high degree of confidence. And I think Joe's point is a very good one, that I mean, this would be visually inconsistent, both historically and also with the other gardens on the block. So I'm not persuaded that you can't do it. It may take a little special masonry, but it can be done.
Yeah, we know it definitely can be. We're just a concern of we don't want to cause more harm than good in
Right.
doing the curbing,
Yeah.
doing insulation, but totally understand it can be done. We're just we're a little apprehensive of some of the application of it.
Has the garden club reviewed the planting plan?
The Back Bay Association has, and they made recommendations, and we're looking into the variety of perennial in the middle. They said the rabbits are running rampant down there, and
Yeah.
may eat their still be.
Yeah, usually we like to suggest that the garden club consult with you, and that then Joe will approve the plan once we have the input from the garden club.
Okay.
Can I ask one more question about the railing? Actually, I'm just looking at the pattern.
Yes.
You have these circles, interlocking circles at the top and the bottom, and then the vertical pickets with some decoration on every second one. Is that something that you derived from the neighborhood? It's only 2 feet tall, right? I can't read the
I know
dimension, but
the
it's
4-foot circle it's kind of common in the Back Bay. I've seen on the fence with that. The little collar on the post comes from a railing that they have on the back balconies. They just kind of pulled that down to have it cohesive with other applications on the premises.
And the circles?
Circles, it was actually a pattern that I used to work for the city for the Parks Department, and we've actually used the 4-inch circles on other properties, and I just thought it was kind of a unique pattern that we presented to the client. The client preferred the pattern that we showed. So I think it's it's not a departure from it's not a model application. I think it's a very traditional application that kind of fits the metalwork in the back bay.
I'm wondering whether for a 2 foot tall segment, it's a lot of decoration. And I can't recall, Joe, if you could go back to some of the context photos that you took
Yeah,
of,
that would be helpful. Yeah.
how, because there's some ornamentation on the others, but yours would be much more horizontal and different.
Yeah, we found these to be, I don't want to say crude, but pretty nondescript design on the other ones.
Quiet is how I would describe them, probably.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's definitely too busy. I've never seen the
Yeah.
interlocking circles in Back Bay, kind of the Olympic logo. So certainly there's plenty of circles that connect with each other. I could understand why the client would like it, but I concur with the other commissioners. This is a very busy design for a 24-inch fence.
Perhaps if we were to lose the circles and just use the pickets with the collars, would be simpler.
Yes.
Okay.
I think absolutely. I think also the question of, how big the the primary structure is, because as you're pointing out, it's actually sitting on an arc, and this appears to be more like 2 inches or even 2.5 or something. Obviously, the bigger it is, the more offset you will have between the concrete and the bottom of the picket, right?
Well, we would have a bottom rail and top rail. I'm not sure what you were asking.
Where the vertical support elements, those are just drilled into the concrete. You're not showing the arc, right? They're just pretty thick, is what I'm saying. And the thicker it is the more problem you have with the actual, support.
Oh, the posts, the posts themselves. They're 2 inch
primary
posts.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a 2-inch square post.
2-inch square post.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I think that's just for you to kind of tackle up how you're drilling those into the concrete. But I'm finding those very heavy as well. But I think just losing the circles and the 4 horizontals, just having 2 of them will help this
Top and
great
bottom.
deal.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we can make a modification. That's fine.
And again, I think this is something that if you came up with a simpler design, we could then remand the final approval of that to Joe. So it's not something that will slow down your project.
Okay, thank you.
I'd be ready to make a motion if the time comes.
Tom, is your motion going to talk about the drilling the posts into the curb?
Yes, I am going to propose that, as Joe recommends, the fence be mounted on the curb.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right, Kathy, I think we're ready for public comment.
Yes, I apologize. I'm at work and I had something to be tended to. Apologies. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use the platform, you may press *9 to raise your hand, or you may send your questions to staff via email at backbayac@boston.gov. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person and should be focused on a project's exterior architectural features, which include landscaping. Issues related to use, street traffic, and noise are outside of the commission's. And do we have any?
Yep, Serge Savard, you can make your comment.
Yes, thank you. We also saw this application at our committee this month. 2 points. We are also, would be very happy to see the post in the curb, but we think that if that's the case, we should the staff should have a chance to review the technique that will be used and make sure that this will not damage the curb and make sure that the shape of it is nice at the end. The second thing is also there is 2 bobo hydrangeas that are planned right now there. and they need to be maintained in a relatively small shape because these windows could be used for emergency egress. So the planning for the plan should take that into account. Thank you.
Okay. And
Great.
Lori Thomas.
Hi, everyone. Lori Thomas for the Garden Club and specifically the Tree Committee. We've reviewed this plan and we think it can be approved. The only thing is that if they are interested in finding out our experience with other rabbit-proof plants, they should feel free to include us. Also, replacing the overgrown boxwood with the Ilex crenata is a good plan. It'll be a healthier shrub for this neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Okay, and I
Joe,
think
do you see anyone else?
no other public comment.
Okay, then let's go back to the motion.
Okay, I approve I move that we approve as presented with the provisos that the fence is to be installed in the curbing consistent with the fencing of nearby properties, and that the fence design is to be simplified and the final design remanded to staff for approval.
Second.
Okay, that was Susanna who seconded that, and I'll do the roll call. Kathy Connor,
Yes.
Tom High,
Yes.
Rob Weintraub,
Yes.
Gina Dimitriadis,
Yes.
Susanna Gaspar,
Yes.
David Sampson,
Yes.
Tanvi Nair,
Yes.
and Andy Champatera.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Scott will be in touch and we'll get your new design approved and ready to go. Thank you.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Okay, Kathy, I think we're ready for our next item.
Terrific. Application 25.0773. That's for 181 Commonwealth Avenue. I think I saw Guy.
Guy, you should be able to, hopefully you should be able to mute yourself. Make sure.
Yeah, I think I'm unmuted. How are
good.
you?
Yes. Hi. Good.
Good evening.
Good.
Right. So if you want to identify yourself officially, Guy, and then we'll send it back to Joe for staff notes, you know the drill, and then back to you.
Sure. I'm Guy Grassi with Grassi Design Group, and we're the architects for the project.
Right. And there's fairly extensive work. It's a repair and repaint masonry, repair and repaint wood elements, replace windows with historically appropriate wood windows. At front facade, replace lower level wood entry door in kind, install intercom, repair entry stoop, install brick sidewalk, install steel fence, restore curbing and landscape front garden, replace slate roof in kind, install wood decking and railing at roof terrace, and convert existing dormer window into a door. At rear elevation, install brick pavers and re-landscape rear yard, install garage door opening, remove existing fire escapes, convert window openings into doors and install balconies. And at roof, relocate elevator head house, install deck, head house, and HVAC equipment, and lower an existing chimney. Staff notes that 181 Commonwealth Avenue with a 5-story brick row house built in 1878 and designed by Clarence Luce. Staff recommends approval with provisos, finding that the conversion of the front facade center dormer window into a door is acceptable due to the fact it will not be visible from the ground, and the proposed garage door is appropriate due to the fact that the rear elevation has been significantly altered. The applicant should work with staff to reduce the visibility of the new rooftop head house, which is visible from the middle area of the Commonwealth Avenue Mall. And I just to show you, it is hard to see here, but if you see where my cursor is, this is the area where I could see the mock-up of the head house. So Guy, would you like to share your own screen and present?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. Okay, it's all yours.
All right. Well, good evening and thank you once again. This is a building on Commonwealth Avenue. Again, it was built in 1878. There was a rear addition all the way up 5 stories and a 5th floor added I believe in 1927 or 1928. So it's been significantly altered. It's a classical revival with the additions. Also, the bay was added, I think, in 1911. There's been, not quite sure. We have a bunch of drawings that were done. I'll just roll you through the photos. The front facade is basically intact. There's not much we're doing there other than restoring it. And then adding the fence at the front yard on the stone curbing, and then just kind of a restoration. You can see it again here. There is a fence along the westerly edge, and the handrails on the stoop are in good shape, and we'll keep them. And then some re-landscaping. We'll keep the tree. This is just another angle of that. You see the balustrade up at the top, which is of interest because we're proposing to use the space behind it as a terrace. And we'll get into the details of that. The front door is in good shape and it will be restored. The intercom will be set in the jamb, so it'll be hard to see. We want to repave these, replace the concrete at the front entrance walk and going up to the stairs to the basement. And we'll show you the drawings of that. It's in tough shape now here. This is that set of stairs to the basement. The granite would stay. The oil pipe would go on some of the junk that's been added. And then the door is in tough shape, and we would like to replace it. At the rear, there's a fire escape that runs up the whole back of the building. It also functions as a connecting balcony to the neighbor on a couple of levels. So we would actually keep the connecting balcony portion and allow it to connect to windows or a deck in one case. There's also a triple window right here, and you'll see that in the plan as well. It's hidden by the enclosure for the fire escape, but it's actually one large triple window. And that's the location of the proposed new garage door. Also, the sidewalk or the parking area back here was raised a bit. You actually come up from the street on a slight ramp and then go in. We don't have our topography yet. We're waiting for our surveyor to get it. But our plan is to lower it, is to slope it similar to the adjacent building to the east so that it's close to aligning, if not aligning. And we're not exactly sure, but it'll be very close. And then to the west, you've got a garden wall. And then I think a taller garden wall. I don't think that's an addition. I think that's just a very tall garden wall up against the back of the house. And then the fenestration would basically remain. Interestingly, in the addition of the alterations that were made, this whole thing was an addition.
Yeah.
The rear, and there were French windows installed on this level, and then also on this level, which you can't see because of the storm windows, but you'll see that in some other views. This is the back. So right now there's 2 steps down from the parking to the rear entrance. And our plan is to have none, is to slope the parking area down a bit and then potentially raise this a little bit. And again, we're trying the best that we could do would be to try to align it with the neighbor, which we'll try to do. Here's that triple window I was talking about. There's 1, 2, 3, and then brick piers between them. And that
you'd be fitting the garage door within that, right?
Yes. Yep. We the same lintel height and everything else.
Right.
So this is that little curb along the edge. And again, our hope is to be able to make this all just slope continuously. There's no particular reason why we can't. So I just don't have the topography to understand it. Again, this is the fire escape and the rear. This is that area up on the 5th floor. So this is the 5th floor that was added, and then this balustrade was added. And it needs new coping, and we would lower this roof just a little bit, just so that this balustrade functions as our guardrail. So it would be at the 42-inch height above the decking, so that we don't have to do anything above that. But we will need to build some kind of a railing on the inside because the gaps in the balustrade are too large to meet the code. So our proposal is to do a very simple, very thin iron railing system on the inside it'd be very difficult to see from the ground through the gaps in the balustrade, but that's the intent.
Yeah,
And this center window becomes a door, so you would drop the sill, keep the dormer and all that.
that as long as you can lower the floor enough so that you don't have the fence sticking up above the balustrade,
Right.
and keep the pickets as thin as possible, I think that's the best solution for making use of that. Because that balustrade is really an important part of the architecture now, and I think what you're doing probably will work well.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I think that's the right solution. And we would set it in a little bit so it's not
Good.
right up against it. There's like a 4-inch gap so you can service
That'll
the
help too.
balustrade,
Yeah.
and it makes it a little bit harder to see by doing that. There's and here's that balustrade. Obviously the cap needs to be replaced. It's pretty rusted. So this is a funky thing. I believe this is the extension of the party wall. And I think it was cut open to allow for second egress from this unit. The building next door is multiple units. I think it's eight or 10 units in that building. So they're front and rear units. So I think this functions as their egress onto our deck. We don't need it. Somebody from this building, I think it might be the owner from this unit, spoke with me, and they would like us to provide some kind of security between the two, or like gate or something like that. So we're fine with that. We would probably just do some kind of an iron gate or something, just that could be swung open to allow ingress. This is the roof. So this is a head house. I don't normally propose head houses to access decks, but we have this very large visible head house up on the roof. It's visible from the far side of the Commonwealth Mall and slightly from the middle of the mall at certain angles. And I've got some photos to show you that. And it's also visible slightly to the west of this building from the mall. But what you actually see is this fence. So I think this fence was put up. I'm not sure who owns it. It's fallen apart. So we would like to remove it. It's kind of a mess. But all of that is proposed to go away. And the existing head house is actually much taller than the one we're proposing. This is further back on that west party wall. It just shows you that there's a parapet wall, goes all the way to the rear. This is the chimney we're proposing to remove. It's a peculiar condition. I don't know why it's so tall. The drawings that we had for the addition show this much lower. So it's been altered over the time.
Yeah.
And it's caused draft problems, I suppose, for the neighbor, and they've got all kinds of contraptions here to allow their flues to draft. We're proposing just to cut it down to sort of a normal height, align it with the front chimney. There's no particular good reason for it to be so tall. I really just don't know why they did that.
Guy, on the question of that and the other chimneys, will you be needing to put metal caps of some kind on these? I've noticed that seems to be very popular these days.
Yeah, they're draft inducers. Yeah, we won't need to do that.
Okay, good.
And
I
we're
was
not
going to ask you to paint them black if you do.
Yeah, no, it would. Yeah, we're not going to do it. This is another roof structure. This is in the proximate location of the proposed head house. It's lower than what we're proposing, and it's hard to see this from the Commonwealth Mall, but there is a parapet along this edge, which does help screen it. And then this is just another view. This is the front chimney, and we would make the back chimney at that height. We would take off this cap because we don't need it. And then just some of the detail of the front. All of this is going to get a lot of work and replacement and repair. There's an interesting kind of copper cornice here that's got kind of an interesting detail to it. And there's a slight curb on the front, which helps sort of hide anything that we're doing. And this is just the condition at the rear. This is what they had to go through to get some air to their chimneys. These are the floor plans showing the exterior alterations in the front. The landscape plan is to retain the existing magnolia, replace the hedge planting, and then a couple of other plants in here, and some bulbs and some ground cover. And then we're proposing a brick walkway here, and then the new fence section that wraps around, and then just a running bond brick going to the granite stairs that go down that exist. We would do a herringbone brick pattern with a border in the front.
And the border would be brick also?
Yeah, all of it's
Good.
brick.
Good.
And then at the ground on the first floor, or at the ground floor, just show you that a little better. We'll brick pave the sidewalk, slope this driveway down to a trench drain, and then enter the building directly, so there won't be any step or retaining wall. And again, the hope is to be able to align it with this one. And then we have room to create a plant bed along this edge, and at grade, at the sloping grade, and just a brick curb, that wraps around, and then border this with brick, and then just a running bond brick pattern in the center of it all. So it's simple, and we also have an opportunity to get a few more plants, in this corner. So we'd like to do that. Going up in the front, we've seen the front yard. We would like to build a small balcony here that replaces the fire escape, sort of goes in the same location, and convert these windows to doors. It's no deeper than the fire escape. In fact, it's just slightly less.
Yeah, looking at the plans, it looked to me like you had all these at like 4.5 feet deep.
Yeah, I think it's actually 4'4". Yeah, so it's quite diminutive. This is the second, where's the second floor? Here's the second floor. Because of the fenestration, we'd like to run this deck to this edge, and it is slightly larger than the footprint of the fire escape itself, but I want to capture this window and make it symmetrical on both sides. So this one's a little wider, but it's the same. This one's 4'9" that comes out.
Could you reduce that down to 4'6", you think?
Yeah, it's not a problem. And then these are French windows, in-swing French windows currently, and we would just make these two pairs new that go down to the floor. They're already pretty tall. And there's no changes to the front on this level. There's fire balconies here that would stay, and these fire balconies would stay. This one would now connect to this window rather than to this fire escape. And then no balcony on that level. And then this is the 5th floor plan. So you see the deck here. This is the balustrade, and there's that gap between the railing and the balustrade. And then the decking on top of that, and then the center door. And then the back is, again, a small balcony that's 4'4" off the back, just capturing this one door. Whoops, there's the roof plan. So we've got the roof deck is brought to the inside edges of the chimneys, front and back. It's been mocked up. You can't see it from any place. I can't even see it from the far side of Commonwealth Avenue, which is kind of unusual. But because the roof slopes from front to rear, and you can't see it from the rear as well. There's a skylight here. We've also mocked that up, and that's not visible, and the heat pumps are not visible. But this roof, the bulkhead, or the head house we're proposing, is in fact visible from the center of the mall to the east of the building. There's sort of an area where you can, because of our neighbor's building is lower, and you can see over it, and you can see it. And I'll show you some other photos of that, of what's visible and what's not. There's a low penthouse here for the elevator, which is not visible from any place, and it's only slightly higher than the parapet itself that's there.
Yeah,
so that's the whole thing.
Guy, I took a look at it from the middle of the mall, because I think that's the fair place to look at it, not from the far side. And it is really quite visible from the middle of the mall, much more so than the existing one. Can you either, going to a hatch would probably be an extreme solution, but there should be some, you're very creative. I'm sure you can find some way of reducing or eliminating that visibility.
Yes, I probably can. We would have to come up with some way to cross slope the roof.
Yeah.
So, so that it slopes towards the east, and lower the height of that, of the wall, the party wall, basically the party wall extension. And we can mock that up and work with Joe on that if that's the best way to go about it. but this is a section through it. So I think we can come up with a solution so that you can get a door that meets,
Good.
that's at least 6'8", and you can and then taper the roof on the other side of the door. So I think there's a way to do that. The front and rear. Oh, these are the front elevations. So this is showing the existing condition here and the proposed. It shows the old head house that's here, and then that gone, and the new one, and you can see it is smaller than what's there. The railing system and the design for the railing system actually comes from the grill over the front door, which is a similar design with this sort of circular pattern with scrolls in it, and then some little scroll work, in the railing. It's delicate, but I think it's nice to match. And then we did kind of a similar detail in the front railing. It's a ring detail that exists in that grill. So again, it's simple and clean, but it has some relationship to the original grill. And then these are the fire balconies that remain on the front. Other than that, it's just replacement of windows and restoration of the stonework and the brick and all of that business. And then the rear elevation. There we go.
Did you get?
Trying to reduce it. There we go. So this is the existing condition. You can see the roof slopes from front to back. This is that very tall chimney and the two head houses that exist up there that we're removing. And again, the building to the west is taller, the building to the east is not. And that's the fire escape and all that business that's going on. There's an awning that comes off. And I'll zoom in on this so it's a little more clear. So working our way down from the top, you see the heat pumps beyond, and this is that head house sloping down, and the existing head house going away. This is the reduction of that chimney and the skylight. None of this is visible, just that from the front. This is the little balcony on the fifth floor, and again, that similar sort of detail that's in the transom. We're replacing of all the windows. These are the in-swing French windows. This is the same mutton pattern that exists. So we're replicating that and then aligning the glass and then doing panels below that. And then this is that balcony on the second floor. And then the first floor balcony, again, is smaller. And what we've done is run this fire balcony to the mullion here, so they have access to that window. And then this fire balcony has access to the deck and then allows them to go in from there. The rear garage door is a raised panel design, a little more formal than we normally would do, but this is a classical revival design of the alterations and additions. So we thought that was appropriate. Again, kept the same height of the lintel and the same width of the jambs and just dropped the sills to create the garage door, and then replace the rear door and remove all the junk that's back there. And then these are some of the details: the windows, the grill work, and the railing and all that. This is the oops, I don't know how that happened.
Oops.
I don't know. I try to get back to that. There we go. This is the design for, oh, geez, as soon as I touch it. But anyway, the railing system that goes inside the balustrade, just a very simple vertical picket. So it's as simple as we can make it. And then the details on all the other stuff. Door hardware, this is the intercom. It's a Sidel system. And then lighting and skylights and all that stuff. And then this is just the restoration. So here is the mock-up photo. And this is the place where you can see it.
Yep.
And it's more visible than I would have guessed, but it is what it is. So I think if I can just cross slope that, it'll help minimize it, reduce the size of that wall and make it a whole lot less visible.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, gotta zoom out. I can't scroll. From other places you can't see it. So as you start to get towards the building, it goes away, and here it's gone, of course. And then from this side, you don't see it. You do start to see the old one from there. You can see the vent pipes that come out of it and some of that business. You don't see it from any place else. And at the back, these are the mock-up photos, so you don't see anything from any of these areas. And this is the mock-up or the mock-ups of all the components. This is the beginning of that fence that you see, and the right here you can start to see through the trees that existing head house. There's the snorkel that comes out of that penthouse, and there you can actually see the from the mall, from the center of the mall, you can see the roof of that penthouse. That's the greenhouse, the glass, sloping glass on the top, and that's the vent that comes out just above the parapet line. So it is visible here. It is further back. This is from the far side sidewalk, and it becomes even more visible.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the justification, I guess, for being able to put up a slightly visible head house. And that's it.
That's it? Nothing
That's
else?
it. That's all I got.
Is that all?
That's quite good.
Try to jam it all into 4.5 minutes or whatever it was.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for?
We know Guy is used to me always arguing about rear facades, and in this case, this is a absolutely altered from basement to roof rear facade. So I think what Guy is proposing seems to be appropriate. What happened was in 1927, they just brought the whole rear of the building back so it was flush with the one next door to it. I do think that you want to reduce the size of the penthouse and can work with Joe on that. Under normal circumstances, those are balconies that are a lot bigger than Juliet balconies. You could fit the whole Capulet family on there. But again, we have approved those in certain circumstances. And in this case, there's no bay in the back, and that's usually, we've had several situations where we've denied balconies in the back because they interfered with original bays. In this case, there isn't one. The fenestration is sort of unusual, and on the third floor with where the large balcony is going to be, it seems to me that sort of almost calls for a balcony with those French windows right now. So as long as they stay within what we've approved in the past, which is 4.5 feet in depth, it seems to me that would work. I think this is a building that needs a lot of work, and I think what you're proposing is an improvement. And I'd be ready to make a motion when the time comes.
Thank you.
Great, Tom, thanks. Anyone else have any comments before we go to the motion?
Oh, I did want to ask, has the garden club reviewed the planting plans on the front and back?
Yeah, we presented it to NAB, and Lori was there and had some comments about it, and we've taken her
well,
up
so we'll see
some
what.
of that info. Yeah, which I'm sure she'll speak for herself.
What type of windows are you using?
They're custom made. They're custom wood windows to fit the openings and match the profiles.
With true divided light?
Yes.
My only question is, where did you get the ironwork design?
That's in the I can probably show it to you in the photo. There's a really I don't know what happened on that. There's a really interesting transom over the front door that has kind of our drawing of it's not as good as what actually is there. But it's it's a circular motif with these sort of C scrolls that come out of it, and then a whole bunch of little rings that go down the middle. I can show you a photo of it if you want. I think we have it.
Think it's original?
Yeah, well, this was altered here. I got a feeling this might have been altered also at the same time. This sort of 1911. That seems to be about when that might have been done.
It could have been done then or part of the 1927 remodel.
Yeah, I mean, there was extensive alterations.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it here. It's, it has the 181 built into it, which is kind of fun. but you can just sort of start to see it. There's
Yeah.
little rings in here, and then this circular motif with these scrolls that meet and on the four quadrants. I thought it was kind of a fun detail, so we sort of picked it up in the detail of the railings.
Who's the developer on this?
It's a company called MDM Development. It's a fellow named Matt Marshall. He's also doing 291 Beacon Street that you folks saw a couple months ago.
Any other questions, commissioners? Okay, then shall we go to public?
Yeah, Guy, if you would stop sharing, I'll just bring up our script. All right, Kathy, whenever you're ready.
Members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use a platform, you may press *9 to raise your hand, or you may send your questions to staff via email at backbayac@boston.gov. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person and should be focused on a project's exterior architectural features, which includes landscaping. Issues related to use, street traffic, and noise are outside of the commission's purview. And Serge, I saw that you had your hand raised.
Yes, thank you. A few comments and a question. The few comments is, although we saw this project also at the committee, and normally we're not really fond of having new balconies, but we think in this case, if these balconies is a major improvement to the current condition of the building, but we would like them to be at the 4.5 feet depth. That is typically what the commission has approved in the last couple of meetings. So we think that would be consistent to previous decision. Also, would like to also confirm the multi-lights that will be used on the third floor. And I think the design is kind of inspired by the current shape of the building and as the way it was done in 1927. We think in this case, it could be appropriate, but this is because of the modeling that was done in 1927. The only topic is the one the commission has also raised is the visibility of the head house, and it was already mentioned at the building. There is one thing that we would like to confirm is, and it's because the abutters contacted us from that building, is to make sure that all the connecting balconies that are currently existing will still remain, including the ones in the front and the one in the back are expected to all remain in place for the fire escape. That's the comment that we have, and that's the question we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Serge. And Lori, I see you have your hand raised also.
Yes, thank you, Kathy. Speaking for the tree committee, we're very happy to see that a red bud will be going into the planter in the back. However, you've specified a 4-inch caliper, and if the planting bed is only 30 inches deep, you won't get more than a 2-inch caliper tree back there. So if you can enlarge the planter, you can have a bigger tree, which would make us even happier, but we will be happy with a 2-inch red bud if that's what will fit back there. In the front, we would just request that the magnolia be protected, not only the trunk, but the roots below the canopy, so that no heavy equipment or building materials lay there. That kind of heavy weight will damage the roots. And we'd also believe that you've added irrigation systems to all of your planting areas, and we would strongly encourage that if you haven't. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. And then Christine.
Oh, Christine, where'd you go? Hey, Christine, you may make your comment. If we could have your full name, please.
Yes, sorry. My name is Christine Fuchs. I'm a resident of 184 Marlborough Street, and I'm actually facing the back of the building right now. I'm looking at it right now, and I just wanted to highlight what a beautiful design Guy came up with. And we in the building are thrilled about the improvements that will be coming in this building, because right now the building is in pretty bad condition, with electric wires hanging in the back and everything else. So we're very excited about this improvement coming up in the building. I just wanted to mention it.
Thank you, Christine. That's a nice comment.
Thank you.
And then Karen just raised her hand.
Yep, Karen, if we could have your full name. Karen, you should be able to unmute yourself. Let me try that again. There you go. Karen, if we could have your full name.
Yes, Karen Manulis. I am the owner of 183 next door, the 5th and 6th floor. And what I wanted to address is the slatted wall on the 6th floor that Guy was talking about removing. It's on their, what will be their roof, basically, or roof deck. There's a large space, and it will be, it's a privacy issue between my deck and what will be their deck. So I would like to request that something be put there, whether it be filled in with something or so there is the privacy concern is addressed. It isn't just a large opening that would, you know, be I think annoying to them and certainly to me.
Okay. Thank you. Guy, do you want to comment on that, or?
Sure. To all the questions, the answer is yes. We're absolutely keeping all the fire escapes, the fire balconies that connect. We're happy with the 2-inch caliper tree. If we can make that plant bed a little wider, you know, I'd love to get a little bit bigger tree in there, but you know, we'll work with what we have. And yeah, we'd be happy to do something to replace that. I'm not sure who owns that, you know, who put it up and who owns it. If Karen owns that, then we'll be happy to work with her on replacing it with something else that's maybe shorter and better condition and all that sort of stuff. And obviously we can run it by Joe and show him what we come up with to replace it.
Just to answer you, I do own it, and so I would be very happy to work with you on it, on just figuring something out that could offer the privacy between the two spaces.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Guy. Joe, do you see anybody else?
Yeah, I will note we did receive 2 written comments from James Trecco at 183 Commonwealth Avenue, and he shared the same concerns about the fire escapes. He also had a question and wanted confirmation that the front garden fence at 183 Commonwealth Avenue will not be disturbed as part of this project. So, Guy, is that your intent, not to disturb the fence at 183 Commonwealth Avenue?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. I think that's the end of public comment.
Terrific. Sounds great. Let's go back to the motion.
The motion. Here's one of my long motions. I move that the project be approved as presented, noting that the proposed conversion of the front dormer into a door is appropriate in this case because it will not be visible from the ground, and that the proposed insertion of a garage door and the addition of balconies larger than Juliet balconies are appropriate in this case because the rear elevation has been significantly altered and is not original facade and does not have a bay and is characterized with atypical fenestration, with provisos that the rear balconies not exceed 4 feet 6 inches in depth, that the rooftop head house be redesigned and or relocated to reduce visibility, with the final design and location remanded to staff for approval, that the front and rear landscaping plans be remanded to staff in consultation with the garden club, and that all other details be remanded to staff for approval.
Second.
2 seconds.
Yeah, think Rob just beat you, Genius. Sorry.
Oh, no.
All right. Kathy Connor,
Yes.
Tom High,
Yes.
Rob Weintraub.
Yes, and Dave Sampson had to leave.
Okay, thanks. Gina Dimitriadis,
Yes.
Susanna Gaspar,
Yes.
Tanvi Nair,
Yes.
and Andy Champatera.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Guy. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks, Guy.
All right.
Nice
thank you.
project once again.
Should be nice. Thank you.
Here. Okay, shall we move ahead to the administrative review? Do we have a motion for the
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay. Kathy Connor,
Yes.
Tom High,
Yes.
Rob Weintraub,
Yes.
Gina Dimitriadis,
Yes.
Susanna Gaspar,
Abstain.
Tanvi Nair,
Yes.
and Andy Champatera.
Abstain.
Okay.
And what about ratification of the 3/12/2025 public hearing minutes? Would someone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay. Kathy Connor,
Yes.
Tom High,
Yes.
Rob Weintraub,
Yes.
Gina Dimitriadis,
Yes.
Susanna Gaspar,
Abstain. Apologies.
Tanvi Nair,
Abstain.
and Andy Champatera.
Abstain.
Okay, and what about staff updates? I know there was an announcement as far as our remote.
Yes, our virtual hearings. Yeah, our virtual hearings have been extended through the end of June 2027. So we'll be continuing in this format until then. Some of you may remember our former preservation assistant, Gabriella Amore, Gabby. She has been a preservation planner for the past several years, and she is taking a new position in our office, preservation projects manager. So we're happy for Gabby, and we have an open preservation planner position. So if anyone knows anyone, please send them my way. And
She was at South End and Bay Village, right?
South End, it will be Bay Village and the St. Botolph district.
Great. Okay, well, congratulations to Gabby. That's terrific. Glad to hear that. Give her our best, please.
Yes, I will.
And then moving on, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I know.
See you soon.
See you next month.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.